Hello and welcome to this season of North Texas Now, the show that brings you exclusive coverage on all things entertainment. I'm Priscilla Presley.
And I'm Ariana Henderson. Priscilla, I cannot believe we've been hosting together for 2 seasons. And I can't believe it's already season 9 of North Texas Now. Insane.
I know, time really does fly by when you're having fun.
Like last season when we flew in that hot air balloon, I still have butterflies.
I know that may have been my favorite segment, but that food and chocolate tour that I went on may have it beat.
Oh my gosh, girl, I was so jealous. That food looked delicious.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. But hey, you got to go to Potato Flats.
There are so many things we could reminisce about last season, but it is time to look forward to this brand new season of North Texas Now.
That's so true. We have so many things in store for you guys, and we just can't wait to get started.
Exactly. So why wait any longer? This season of North Texas Now starts right now. Decided to come in from the cold, but I have absolutely no idea where Priscilla went. But she has been talking about this new donut place for a while now, and it is breakfast time, so I'm guessing she went off to get some without me. Priscilla, where are you?
I know, I'm so sorry, Ariana. I just couldn't wait any longer. I'm so hungry, so I had to head over to the square here at Hypnotic Donuts and Biscuits, where I'm sitting here with the creator, James. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome. Thanks for coming out to our shop.
So excited. So
cool.
You have to let me know, how did you come up with this concept? Like, what were the steps that you took?
I was in corporate America for way too long, right? Corporate America was good, don't get me wrong. I was ready to get out. Within corporate America, I was in marketing, and so we always supplied donuts to places. And I kept going, God, all these donuts taste the same, no matter where we were getting them from. So I did the research and found out 90% of the donuts are supplied by the same company. And the only ones that were different were the chains like Krispy Kreme, Dunkin' Donuts, etc. So I was like, you know what, I think I can make a difference here, but I don't know anything about donuts. So I started out, I walked into a donut shop, and it was Asian owned, and I was like, I want to learn how to make donuts. And his son happened to be there. And so he translated for me, and I was like, do you think your dad would teach me how to make donuts?
Yeah.
And he goes, yes. And I was like, okay, how much will it cost? Nothing. I was like, awesome. He goes, be here at midnight. And I was like, okay.
At midnight?
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, here we go. And so I'd go to my corporate job and go in every night at midnight, work midnight to 3 a.m. to learn how to do it. And so after about 2 weeks, he finally gave me the rolling pin. So I was like, oh my God.
After 2 weeks, that was like the big
I get to
thing.
roll dough, right? And so I get the rolling pin, and I'm like, God, here we go. Watch out. This guy's going to hire me on the spot, right? And I go like this, one roll, and he goes, no. And he took the pin away.
What did you
And
do?
I don't know, because he wouldn't tell me. And so I was just like, after the little slap on the hand and take the rolling pin, I told him, thank you, I'm not coming back, just because I didn't think I'd ever learn it, right? I'd just go home and practice, and I figured,
Watch your videos?
I figured if I can get it down in my kitchen at the house, then once I get commercial equipment, I'll eventually get there. So we started selling by just putting it on Facebook and Twitter, and we were just selling out of the back of our car. And it got to a point where we'd be like, okay, we're taking orders now. And by the time I hit send on the email, I'd go back to my inbox, and there'd be 35 orders. So I was like, okay, this is a little ridiculous, right?
What kind of donuts were you selling at this point?
We were just doing different toppings and stuff. I can't even recall. Some of them were probably so stupid and
whatever
ridiculous.
You could find in your pantry.
Right, yeah.
It's
It's just like, let's make something really different, just something really different. Right. And so I think that was the biggest draw. And so it was just all word of mouth. Basically, that's my point. And so then it was like, okay, what's the next logical step? And it was to open a store. So we opened a store in East Dallas about 3.5 years ago. And with that store, we had, believe it or not, a lot of people from Denton coming in saying, you should open a store in Denton. I told my wife, I was like, you know what, let's just go out there and let's take a look.
Right.
And so we're driving out to Denton, and we saw a sign that said 7 Mile Cafe. And so I was like, okay, we got to stop in there because they do breakfast, and let's kind of see how business is for breakfast. And so as soon as we stepped foot in 7 Mile Cafe, 2 people walked out of the back, and they're like, are you the guys from Hypnotic?
What?
And I was like, okay, that's a
You're
good
kidding.
sign. No, and so I was like, okay, that's a pretty good sign. And so then they kind of told us to go look around the square and stuff like that. And once we saw the square in this area around campus and things like that, That's when we realized Denton was awesome.
Now, you have this big space, but you have this one little spot where you just sell the donuts, but there's all different kinds of donuts. What are the different kinds of donuts that you have there?
Well, there's a lot.
I know. What are some of your favorites?
My favorite is the 666, which is a simple vanilla cake with a passion fruit habanero icing. So it's very
Passion fruit habanero.
Yeah, so it's very sweet and tangy when you bite into it, then it burns as it goes down. The most popular is the Evil Elvis. We actually just had that ranked as one of the top 20 donuts in America. It's a glazed donut with peanut butter, bacon, banana, and honey.
Right, well, we've had such a great time already here. We've
All
kind
right.
of seen everything that you have to offer, but there's one thing that we still need to go do.
Uh-oh.
Are you going to take me back in the kitchen to kind of see how this works?
Sure, we can do that.
All right, so I think it's about that time. Let's go. Okay, so you have to let me know how we get started here. I mean, there's so many steps I see here, but how do we really get started?
Yeah, well, if you really want to get started, you got to get here about 4 hours earlier, about 3 o'clock in the morning. So
oh man. All right,
this
so
guy
how
and
do we
that guy,
start
they get up at 3 a.m. They're in here by 3:30 and they start getting going. But
every single morning?
Yes, every single morning.
Wow.
So the main thing is because they got to get the dough going, and the dough's all made where it has active yeast in it, so the yeast has to rise, takes an hour and a half. So the actual process to get a yeast donut out takes an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. So they get in at 3:30. This is Webb. He's one of our donut makers. And he gets in, he starts the dough, gets it going. And as he gets that dough going, he gets it out on the table. And he starts forming it to make what you see here, like the yeast round donuts, the long johns, the fritters, your cinnamon rolls. All that's handled by him. And so when he gets a dough out on the table, then he's got another dough started. And it's a consistent process. And so then that right there comes out and looks like that.
Apple fritters are one of my favorites.
All right,
donuts.
and so there it is.
I love them.
Yeah, and our fritters are awesome. We use real apple in it. We use a lot of cinnamon.
Wait, so we're not selling this one?
No, because I'm touching it right now. So.
Okay, well. That's really good, guys. That is really good. I mean, it comes straight from that. We're seeing the whole process right here, and I just ate it.
Okay, so one other thing we got to talk about.
Donuts isn't all you have.
Chicken biscuits. We do a lot of chicken biscuits.
Now,
okay?
this is what I've heard a lot of. Everybody loves these things.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yes.
good. All right. That's
okay.
better than the alternative, right? So,
I guess so.
But what we do is we make all our biscuits in-house, and then we have all our chicken. It's marinated 24 hours, and then it's cooked to order. So it's never something that's cooked. So there is a little bit of a wait, but we think the wait is definitely worth it.
It's
so,
not just sitting in under a light.
heat lamp, right?
Yeah.
No heat lamps in here. So,
Yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah.
So what it is the chicken's marinated 24 hours. When the order comes up, we cook the chicken, put it on the biscuit with the additional toppings that you order with it, and we get it out to you.
All right, well, thank you so much
Thank you for having us. This is
sitting
awesome.
down with us and taking us all throughout your kitchen.
Yeah, well-
We've had such a good time.
Yeah, and we're glad to be in Denton. We've been
Yeah.
here 6 months now, and we're really pumped about it. It's been great turnout and great feedback from the Denton people, so we're excited.
We're so excited. Well, thank you so much. Ariana, back to you.
Thanks, Priscilla. And just so you know, I forgive you. As long as you bring me one of those evil Elvis donuts, because you know, anything with bacon, count me in. Well, I'm going to go meet up with Priscilla for my donut, but after the break, we'll be welcoming back NTN correspondent Lupi Zapata. Stay with us.
I'm sorry I ran off without you, but I got you some donuts to make up for it.
Is that what I think it is?
Oh my gosh, yes. This place is so amazing. Yeah.
You are so right.
I know. So let's stay here and finish our breakfast. And I think that our NTN correspondent Lupi is somewhere on the square doing something pretty cool.
What's up, Lupi?
That's right, Ariana and Priscilla. I am here in the heart of Denton at the 8th Annual Thin Line Festival. Now, sitting here with me right now, I have the pleasure of being with psychedelic indie folk group Seren. Now, they have their roots here in Denton, Texas, but they recently moved to Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome back to Denton, you guys.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be back?
Wet and cold, but
It
good.
is cold out there. It is cold. Okay, guys. Now, if you could introduce the sound of your group in one word, what would it be? We'll start with you, Scarlett.
Future folk.
Future folk? What was it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Sounds.
Sounds. Okay.
Dynamite.
Dynamite. Nice.
Blends.
Blends.
Grooves.
Grooves.
Music.
Music. Very nice. Now, you guys all groove very well together. I was listening to your guys' sound check, and you guys all blend so incredibly well together. I know that the group has gone through a lot of changes recently. How do you guys stay afloat with all of those changes? How do you guys stay sounding so wonderful all together?
I think we just have gotten really lucky to find this group of people. Everyone kind of met through pretty random, maybe serendipitous circumstances.
Okay.
So I think it's just everyone kind of has the same intention, and we kind of blend together like some, musical dynamite with some groovy future folk and sounds.
Nice. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
That's nice. Now, if you could introduce, I guess, if somebody was wanting to hear you guys for the first time, what would you want them to take away from hearing you guys here at a concert?
The CD.
The CD.
The CD? But I guess in feeling, what would you have them take away? If you could have them leaving with one feeling, what would it be?
I mean, we're trying to create, I think, the same thing that I want when I go see music, which is sort of a release and catharsis, and just people walking away feeling refreshed.
Okay.
I want them to feel like they just got dosed with some kind of psychedelic drug.
Okay.
Legal. Illegal.
Right.
Family friendly.
It's not mindless.
But where the experience is just so powerful that you don't feel like yourself.
I want them to feel kind of like how unicorns feel.
Like unicorns feel. Very nice. Now, you guys all recently moved from North Texas to Nashville, Tennessee. How is that all living there? Are you guys all living together? Are you living separately? How does that work out?
Separately.
You're not all living in a house together,
We
like
tried
big
living
happy
together
band?
once.
Well, Nathan and Aaron and I all live on the same street in different houses.
Randomly, all like right there.
Okay.
And it's close to the hot chicken,
Yeah.
which is important, which is very important to us.
Very nice, very nice. Now, if a year from now, where would you guys see yourselves in the future? If you could paint a picture of where Serin would be in a year, what do you think that would be?
Australia, maybe some happy trees, just playing a show. Maybe Japan, if we're painting a picture.
Okay, very nice.
A new
Very
record.
nice.
Definitely another record out.
Okay.
Or finished at least.
And that would be your third record.
Yeah.
Right. The second one just came out last week. It hasn't been out a week. It's been out less than a week.
Very nice.
So we're excited about that. So we'll be playing all of those songs on the tours for probably the rest of the year.
Well, thank you guys for coming back to
Thank
Denton.
you.
Thank you guys for sharing your unique sound with us. Hey guys, I had so much fun here today. The Thin Line Festival has so much to offer, and it's an experience unique to Denton. Be sure to check it out next year for the 9th annual Thin Line Festival. Ariana, Priscilla, back to you guys.
Wow, what an awesome event with a total Denton vibe.
Yeah, and Serin was so good. Like, I'm gonna download all their music once I get home. They rocked it out.
Absolutely, but there are a ton more places here in Denton that not a lot of people know about.
That is so true, like Audacity Brewhouse, which I'll be visiting right after the break. You're not gonna wanna go anywhere.
Hey guys, welcome back to North Texas Now. Now, Denton is known for having a bunch of really cool and unique places, and we've already visited some of them today. But Ariana is headed over to a new hotspot here in town and is getting the entire inside scoop. Ariana, what's going on, girl?
Priscilla, there is a lot going on here at Audacity Brewhouse, from board games to music to, of course, beer brewing. And I'm here with Doug Smith, the co-owner of Audacity Brewhouse. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I am so happy to be here. It looks awesome in here.
Thank you.
Really cool. So tell me, what is one of the customers' favorite beers?
Sunset Vienna Lager has been overwhelmingly the most popular. It's a great German style of beer that also works as an introductory for people just learning about craft beer.
Nice. Now, you came up with that, didn't you?
Yes, all the recipes here are ones that I've written.
How do you come up with a recipe? Like, how does that process go?
Well, it starts with drinking a beer. Then you sit down and Brewing is 50% science and 50% art. So, the schooling gave me the background. I know the chemistry and biology behind it, but it's a lot like being a chef where you have your ingredients in front of you, you know the flavors that come out of the ingredients, and you kind of start with the end game. What do I want this to taste like? And then work backwards and say, these are the ingredients that will give me these flavors and this mouthfeel and this aroma. And you start building it with the different ingredients. And you got to brew it and taste it and see how well you did.
Nice. Now, what's the most unusual thing you've ever put into one of your brews?
Oh, we love being experimental. A lot of it is trying to be as local as we can. So, a lot of people will put fruit in their beer. And the local fruit here in North Texas is persimmons. Not a very common one, but there are persimmon trees everywhere. So it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
And now you actually brew here?
Yes.
Like here?
Yeah, so we're in the tasting room right now, which is typically the more fun area because you get to drink the beer here.
Right.
But behind this wall is where all the brewing's done.
Well, can I get a little sneak peek?
Absolutely. Let's head back there.
Cool. Yeah, so we're going to go look at some brewing. All right, so this is where it all starts, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay, give me a crash course in brewing.
Okay, we're on it. So anytime you want to make alcohol, you have to start with a sugar source.
Okay.
And so we're making beer here. We start with malt. It's a converted type of barley, sometimes wheat, sometimes rye. So what I have here is a pale malt.
Ooh,
Go ahead and take a scoop.
Ooh.
So what you'll see is barley is just a seed, and the malting process is basically just a cooking process of the seed that allows it to convert into sugar and give it a little bit of flavor. So there's a whole bunch of different types of flavors based on how much they cook it, and that's how we put together recipes. If you want a dark stout with chocolate and coffee, then you roast it a lot. If you want a more caramel-based beer, then you just kind of stew it with water. So we just mixed all kinds of different malts, put together a recipe.
Sounds cool. Okay, so take me where you mix them together.
You want to go?
Yes. All right. Okay, so what is this machine here?
So this is the first real part to brewing. So you saw where we got the grain, we saw it come up the auger, and it's all going to sit up here and wait for me to brew. When I'm ready to brew, I'm actually going to use hot water through this hose as the grain comes down. The whole point here is we want to use the hot water to steal all the sugar out of that grain. All the water, now we call it wort because it's sugar water, runs off and goes to the next vessel. And when I'm done, I'm left with 800 pounds of spent grain.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how do we get it out?
Yeah, well, this is the best part, is you actually get to rake it out. So here's our little rake, and these are the containers we use, so go ahead, try.
I'm a little bit of a wimp.
That's
so.
okay. A little bit at a time.
Oops, is that too much? Oh, and
You
it's
can't
still
mess
really
it up.
warm.
That's right.
So I have to be careful, huh?
So when we mix it at 150 degrees.
Okay.
Now it's cooled down a little since then.
Let me stop before I really ruin it. Okay, let's go. Let's move
Ready
on
for
to
the next step?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so this bad boy right here feels a little warm. What is going on in here?
So this is the next step. This is called our boil kettle. So we brought all that wort, that sugar water, over to here. That's where we're going to boil it for usually an hour or a little longer. This is also where we add the hops.
The hops.
So we've got some for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
some hops.
grab a handful of that.
Here we go. Oh, it's a little bit like, it kind of reminds me of like little pellets.
Yeah, they're little pellets, so they grow like a cone, kind of like a pine cone, but soft and green. And then we pelletize them so they're easy to use.
Nice.
And this is the part that gives the bitterness and the aroma to beer. So now's the time to add this batch. Toss them right in.
I think
And now
I'm
you're a
good at
brewer.
this. Oh my gosh, y'all, it's so exciting.
Well, so this needs to boil for about 30 more minutes with a few more hop additions.
Okay.
But once it's done, we'll cool it down. So boiling, 212 degrees, we want to bring it over to our tanks where the yeast is waiting to eat all the sugar. To do that, we run it through a heat exchanger. It takes all the heat out of the wort and into water. The water gets reused on the next batch, so now it's hot water, and all that work goes over to our tanks.
Nice. Now, can I go over to the tank
You
and
can
see what's
go.
going on?
Let's take a walk.
All right. Okay. So, what are these ginormous contraptions?
So these are our fermenters.
Okay.
So this is where the yeast is waiting for the wort that we were boiling over there. And the wort comes in with all that sugar, and the yeast wants to eat the sugar. It's going to create all the alcohol. That's really why we drink the beer.
Right.
But it also creates a lot of the great flavors. And it'll kind of churn and bubble for a long time, a week to 2 weeks, and that's when it's doing its fermentation. After that, we crash cool it. We turn it down to about 30 degrees. At that point, the beer tastes great. It's ready. So all we have to do is filter it and put it into our kegs.
Oh,
That's
nice.
why we have so many kegs around here.
There are a ton of
Fill it all
kegs.
up.
for all the different beers that you have?
Yep, each tank has one style, and then the small tanks hold about 30 kegs worth, and the large tanks hold about 60 kegs worth.
Nice. And then what do you do after you put them in the kegs?
You drink the beer, of course.
Doesn't I get to drink some beer?
I think it's time for that.
Oh yeah. So I am about to try the Sunset Vienna Lager. I'm so excited. It looks amazing. But stay with us because coming up next, our newest correspondent makes her NTN debut with some pretty interesting people. You don't want to miss this. A lot of cool places around town, but Denton is nothing without the people.
You know, that's so true, Ariana. There's actually a guy here in Denton that has the same goal as we do here in North Texas now, to find the coolest places and most interesting faces, and it's all on his blog, People of Denton.
Now that is so cool, and our new NTN correspondent, Katie Berlin, is getting a chance to sit down with the creator himself to find out all about this crazy idea. Katie, what are y'all up to?
Hey guys, thanks so much. I'm here with Wesley Kirk, the creator of People of Denton, and we're here to talk a little bit about People of Denton and what he does. Wesley, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. So you started out in film and you were head of the short film club here at UNT, and now you're in doing People of Denton and a lot more photography. So how have you taken the skills and your love for film and transitioned that into photography and People of Denton?
Well, I'd always kind of done photography and film kind of evenly because I felt like photography is a good way to keep my skills sharp between movies, and it's a good way to, produce something creative without needing a whole big crew. But when it came to People of Denton, the reason that I started it was because walking to classes all the time, I would see really interesting people and I wanted to know more about them.
So how has social media and sort of modern times been able to sort of allow you to do what you do with People of Denton?
The response from doing all those different outlets now has been huge, especially on Facebook. Like, people see their friends and tag them in it and share the photos, and I mean, it's been great to see how Denton, like as a community, responds to it more and like wants to put this stuff out there and share it with everyone else.
So what would you say would be like the most memorable moment you've had so far?
One of them would definitely be interviewing Max Quimby. He's known as your friendly neighborhood pothead. He walks to classes balancing a potted plant on his head. And as soon as I first heard about him, I was like, I need to interview this guy. He's so perfectly Denton. And I would tell people that all the time. And at one point someone was like, but you already did. And I'm like, what? And then I realized, like, on Halloween, I was going around photographing people in costume, and he was the Headless Horseman. He had like a blackout mask on and a pumpkin balanced on his head.
Oh my god.
And when I asked him to tell me something interesting about himself, he said he can balance 2 bowling balls, one on top of the other. I don't know why that wasn't a big clue to me. Like,
that's
he's
so
that
crazy,
guy.
wow. What have the People of Denton taught you about yourself?
I don't know if this has really changed, but it's always been something that I've believed in, is that like everyone has a story. Like there's something interesting about every single person. You just gotta, ask them. Just start talking to them and figure out their story.
I totally agree. So what do you say we go find some People of Denton?
Yes, please.
Would that be good? Yeah, let's do it.
All right. This guy? All right, here, let me get a wide shot. Okay. People of Denton, where I photograph and interview interesting people around town.
Oh, cool.
Can you tell me something interesting about yourself?
I've been a percussionist for 11 years.
That's cool. What kind of stuff do you like to play?
Well, I did a steel pan ensemble.
That's fun.
For a few years.
Cool. So
you
in the music program here? All right. My name's Wesley.
My name's Michael.
Michael?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Interesting. I don't know.
This first thing that comes to mind.
I don't know. I was in Friday Night Lights.
You were?
TV show, yeah.
As an extra? Or
Yeah, as an extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell you about my scars.
Okay.
I was burned at 8 months by a pot of beans. Yeah, so I don't remember it happening, thank God. So I've grown up with them, and they're really interesting, not to be like vain.
I love it when someone gives me an answer. It's like the last thing I expect.
Yeah.
Like that guy saying ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
I still want to know how that works. And I I like asking everyone the same question, at least to start off,
Right.
because I think it's interesting how people identify themselves, like what they think makes themselves unique.
I play in a band that's playing at Jazz Fest called
Yeah.
Unsinkable Molly Browns.
Cool.
It's gonna be cool.
A lot of times what, like, I would describe my friend, like, oh, if you ask me about one of my friends, I would say, oh, like, what makes her unique? I'd say, oh, you know, this makes so-and-so unique, but they might say something totally different, which is sort of representative of how they view themselves. So would you ever, like, go up and, like, run to someone, or was it just sort of more of, it's definitely a natural thing? Like,
Yeah, it
unless you
works
see
so
someone
much-
super...
Yes, the one time I ran up to someone was a year ago when it snowed, and reporters from NC Daily were following me around, and I told them, I guarantee you someone is out in this snow in shorts, and I'm gonna find them. And like we were walking around, and the photographer was like, hey, that guy over there. And I like booked it a whole block to catch up with him, and I asked him like, why are you wearing shorts? He's like, I'm just warm, I always wear shorts. It was like 10 degrees out, and he was wearing shorts. One thing that was weird about that day was that I photographed everyone that was making a snowman, and every single person had the exact same answer. They were from Houston, they'd never seen snow before, and they wanted to build their first snowman. They said it almost word for word. Can you tell me something interesting about yourself?
I'm a freshman. I'm in the fraternity Pi Kappa Phi. I'm an English and poli-sci major.
And why are you dressed so sharp?
Thanks.
This is just your everyday attire?
Yeah, basically. That's kind of my trademark.
Very cool.
Leslie, thank you so much for interviewing with us today and hanging out. I've had a blast.
Me too.
Priscilla and Ariana, back to you.
Wow, it's so inspiring to see people with a passion like Mr. Kirk has. It's something that we really strive for here in North Texas now.
That's right, and it's so refreshing to see someone so excited about their line of work. Plus, he's a UNT alumni, so he's giving back to his community.
You know, it's a recurring theme on the episode today, and the Denton community never lets us down.
Yeah, and there's always new things going on, and of course, NTN's got you covered on the latest happenings.
NTN airs Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. only on NTTV, and you can always catch us online at NorthTexasTelevision.com.
We'd like to thank all of our awesome guests for joining us today, and all of you viewers at home. You can always check us out online at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for all of your latest NTN news. And also, we just got a Snapchat. And we have a brand new behind the scenes show with our host, Katie Drake.
It's really, really awesome, and you guys really need to check it out.
Until next time, remember North Texas.
Now is what you make it.